Rebecca here. So in preparation for autumn this year, for the fall, I am ordering all of the inks I could possibly want, everything that went on my wish list over the course of the spring and the summer when I wasn't doing pen and ink things other than keeping up my journaling. So my wish list for inks is going to be dribbling in over the next few weeks because I made some serious purchases, and I will make some videos to go with the arrival of said serious purchases. In the meantime, the first of my ink orders has arrived, and I thought I would share that with you because who doesn't love watching ink dry? I love watching ink dry, so I plan to do that right here, and you can join me if you love watching ink dry too. So I'm going to start with, I should back up and tell you this order came from Stilo Stile. Anyway, a wonderful Italian company, online shop. I think they have a brick and mortar shop as well, but they definitely have a wonderful online shop, and it got here so fast. I was very impressed. So I have 7 inks today, and I'm going to be doing swatching of them in kind of color order, and what I've decided to do is swatch them on Tomo River paper. The stuff I have is cream. It's 52 grams per square meter, and this is pre-COVID, so this is from 2018, maybe 2019, but I'm pretty sure 2018. So this is before all the changing of companies and manufacturers and machines and so on and so forth. So this is the good stuff. Before all of that happened, when I first started understanding the beauty and meaningfulness of paper and how important it was to fountain pens and writing with fountain pens and playing with ink, I bought a ream of this stuff. So I have still well over 400 sheets of this stuff sitting around, and I decided it's time to get it out and start playing with it. So I'm going to swatch on the Tomo River paper, and we will start with an Inkvent ink I've been trying to get my hands on for a couple of years now. That is Diamine Masquerade. So as well as swatching my new inks, I'm going to swatch inks that look like my new inks. Oh, this is a shimmer, so I need to agitate it. And by agitate, I mean shake the heck out of, because I'm on the clock here. Yeah, so 6 of these new inks, there's 7 inks, 7 new inks. 6 of the new inks are shimmer inks because I have finally found a couple of pens that work well with shimmer inks in my collection. And I am embracing all things shimmer because I have embraced all things standard for so long. So I have, most of my ink collection is standard. I think at this point I have 11 shimmer inks. Before I got this order, I had 11 shimmer inks, mostly samples. So come on, little buddy. There we go. I always talk to my ink. It's very receptive, never answers back, but you know, it works. So this is Diamine Inkvent Purple Calendar, whatever year that was, Masquerade. So I'm doing the put down a bunch with the back end of my writing tool and use a plastic bag to spread the ink method. It provides a little glare, which is unpleasant, but we'll get over it. Then after I have wiped off the end, I'm going to re-agitate because shimmer settles. But the second time for agitation always goes pretty quickly. Clunk goes the bottle. It's the bottle with the feet. Love the feet. I'm just moving my hand protection down. And this is Diamine. I'm not going to write ink vent. Masquerade. I do have paper underneath my Tomoe River paper for swatching on, but the lines on it are so faint I cannot see them, so I'm going to be writing off into weird angles and making a general mess of myself as I swatch. So that's Diamine Masquerade, which is a beautiful, warm, rosy pink brown with gold shimmer. Putting that aside, and what am I going to compare my new ink to is another Diamine ink vent from the black calendar. So this past year, so 2024, Wilted Rose. I have a sneaking suspicion they might be using the same base. Wilted Rose does not have shimmer, so I do not have to shake it up. Again, it has the bottle with the beautiful feet. It's a fun bottle. Oh, but boy, do I crank these lids on. So, there we go. And I used to put down dots, but I found my samples were a little too spread out. So now I just make a squiggle. And move the bag around a bit to try and apply as much ink as possible. You don't want to waste the sample ink. And the more interesting the swatch, the more interesting the page. This one looks like a turtle. And we'll go with Diamine. Wilted Rose. So basically what I'm going to do is, if I have what I would consider a close match or something similar in my collection, I will swatch it with the new ink. The reason being, I am trying to explore how close they are. The comparison is. And also it's a way to remind myself that I should always check my stash of ink before I buy new ink, which I did this time. But yeah, when you've got as much ink as I do, they look alike. It's just the way it is. You're going to get some close matches, and that's okay. I'm exploring, for the most part, shimmer with this one. So with this set of inks. So the next one is Tomo and Limbs. And they never put the name of their ink on the outside of the box, or at least they didn't on these boxes. But this is Tono and Limbs Fluorite Daylight. And as you can see, it is a shimmer ink. So I'm going to agitate that. And the thing I've noticed with these Tono and Limbs inks is that have shimmer is that they are seriously heavy shimmerers. That's hard to say. The shimmer is serious with these guys. So agitate. I'm also very good at putting lids on bottles. So these are very well kept. And I use my plastic baggie, but I have to move the ink to the side. So the green things I have on the page protect the paper from my hand oils, but they also protect the paper from the plastic bag in case, well, I uncover new inking area, but I'm trying to protect the page as much as possible so I don't get shimmer where I shouldn't get shimmer, and so I don't get hand oils where I shouldn't get hand oils. These are very, not old, because nothing's old in this hobby except vintage stuff. But I got these when I first started writing with fountain pens on an A5 book. And I know the company that I got this ream of paper from and that I got these plastic page protectors from is no longer around. Or at least I believe they are no longer around. They no longer have an online presence, I'll put it that way. So this is Tono and Limbs. And yes, there are bubbles on my dip pen nib. Fluorite Daylight. And when the bubbles burst, you get little spatters like that. And that is why we're not supposed to shake our inks actively. We're supposed to agitate them gently. And blah, blah, yada, yada, that takes too long. So I am an aggressive shaker. This is a very light ink, as you can tell. And I think it's pretty as heck. Will it be legible for writing? I will, if I write with it. Of course I'll write with it. I'll swatch. I'll write with everything. I will put it in a medium to broad nib that is very wet. And that will not be difficult for me to do because I make all my inks wetter, all my nibs wetter. When I get a new pen, I test it, and if it doesn't have adequate wetness for me, I make the nib wetter. I just do some small adjustments and the nib gets wetter. So not a problem. So this is Colorverse Alpha SGR or Alpha Sagittarius, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think SGR means Sagittarius. So it's named after the Alpha star in the Sagittarius cluster, galaxy, universe. We'll go with cluster because I don't know what the proper term is. Let's make this a nice big swatch. Sorry, I bumped the paper. It's like bumping you guys. I didn't mean to. I apologize. You can see that this is quite light, like the base color of Fluorite Daylight. Very similar. This is a color that has done really successfully in one of my pens that has, it's a Leonardo Memento Zero Grande 2.0, and it has a medium CSI nib. Colorverse Alpha SGR. So my swatching nib is a fine nib, and it is in a James Finnis / Robert Oster dip pen with a feed. So my dip pen has, I hope you can see that there, has a feed on it. So it means I can actually dip and get a whole page worth of writing, or at least like 3/4 of a page worth of writing from one single dip because of the feed. The feed fills up when you dip it. I'm just gonna move that over and try and make it a little less crooked as heck. That needs to be moved. There we go. Maybe bring that down a touch. And next up is going to be another Tono and Limbs ink. This one is called Burma Tourmaline. So yet another shimmer. Front of it, no name. Back of it, Burma Tourmaline, gold shimmer. Off camera to agitate the heck out of it. And look at that richness. Okay, bubbles like up the wazoo, but I don't know if you can see that intense rich color. It's filthy with very heavily shimmered, filthy with shimmer. And this is one of my new ones. So dip that pen, just using the end of the pen because it's there. Why not use the tool that is there? And putting the cap on that ink. Smear this puppy around. Tap, tap, tap. I'm trying to get as much ink on the page as possible, but I did leave too much of an opportunity for that to dry, so it didn't smear as well as I wanted. And that is, I know, repeating myself, Tono and Limbs. Burma. Talking slow so I spell right. Tourmaline. There we go. Dipping to clean the pen nib. And for the most part, this nib just cleans out by dipping in water. I have a fresh glass of water off screen. Well, not a glass, a giant ceramic mug with rubber on the base. It was a gift from a friend, and it is perfect for pen-related play. So just gonna cap that. And what ink do I have that is close to Burma Tourmaline? Well, if you look at Burma Tourmaline, you can see pinkness and brownness. So where the ink is laid on heavy, it's pretty brown. So I'm going with Kobe's Felissimo Chocolate Museum Series Strawberry Chocolate. This one's a little pricier of an ink and hard to find. Sometimes it sells out really fast. It's very popular, being really popular over the last year or so. And I got it from Japan directly, so I had it ordered directly from Kobe in Japan. So it cost me a lot to get it shipped to Canada. And if you can't get your hands on a sample or a bottle of the Kobe strawberry chocolate, you can always buy, you might be able to get your hands on, can't always buy, but yeah, you might be able to get your hands on Tono and Limbs Burma Tourmaline, and that's basically strawberry chocolate, but with shimmer. So this is Kobe strawberry chocolate. Next up is my only standard ink. I know. In the bunch. So of the 7 new inks, this is the only standard. That was a very well placed paw. She walked right across and she missed the wet ink. So thank you now. It was very well done. So because I don't have a comparison for this one, I have nothing in my in my collection that is even close to this ink, I'm going to make a big arse swatch. This is a very soft pale green. It is very similar to the plastic page sheet protectors. And like I said, I've got nothing in my stash that looks, in my stash of ink, that looks anything like this. So because of that, I can just get away. Oh, I put that away. Why did I put that away? I have to write the name of the ink underneath. So it is Vayu or Vayu. I'm going to go with Vayu because that feels more comfortable on my tongue. And it is by Wearingeul. Vayu. And you can't see it, but just barely off screen, I dropped a big honking drop of ink. So I've wiped that up. Pretty, very pretty, very soft, almost a creamy or milky looking green. It's got seafoam aspects to it. I'm back. Tom came home and the dogs decided to get rambunctious, so I had to quit recording, and now I am back, and it is a couple of days later, as you can tell by my different nails. So let's keep going. The next new ink I have is called Dominant Industry Goryeo Celadon. And I love the color Celadon in real life. It pleases me immensely. Celadon is that pale, somewhere between blue and green, and just makes me so happy. Now this one has shimmer up the wazoo, because as I said, this is one of seven new inks, and 6 of them had shimmer. The one that didn't was the Wearingeul Vayu. But let's just shake this. Come on, little buddy. Off screen shaking my heart out here. Still not getting all the... Oh, I don't need that. Got most of it in suspension. So I'm going to make a small smear, and then I'm going to put my plastic baggie down. I changed plastic baggies too. The other one wasn't holding the wrinkles anymore, and holding the wrinkles is how you get the really good changes in direction. And I'm going to ignore the fact that I should shake again and just dip. This is ink everywhere. Dominant Industry. I'll shift this down a little. Goryeo Celadon. Celadon. I've also switched to a different part of the desk, of the table. It's a round table. And unfortunately, I have a big honking crack to deal with. So that made it a little harder to write. So cleaning my pen, or my nib. And in my stash, I was wondering if I had anything even close to similar to this when I realized I have something almost identical to this. This is Vinta Perya. Now, Vinta inks are known, sadly, for evaporation, but this is one of my Vinta inks that has not evaporated. I've lost so far 2.5 bottles of Vinta ink out of my 5 bottles to evaporation. So that's 50%. The half bottle is Serena. I'm still using it, but it is mostly evaporated. The 2 that evaporated were moon clouds, moon dust? No, moon clouds, something like that. And Ibid, IBID, which was, or sailfish, was the other name for it. It was an absolutely beautiful ink, a green with a blue, shimmer, a stunning ink. And it completely evaporated along with the other one, which was also a shimmer ink. So I had 2 shimmer inks completely dry up on me from Vinta, and Serena is close to drying up on me. I'm down to about 40% level, and I've used it in 2 converters, so I have not used 60% of the ink. But the rest, the other ones I have are holding steady. So the other 2 are Perya and Sea Kelp. They're holding steady. But I won't be buying any more Vinta inks because 50% loss is way too much for acceptable levels. Okay, so new ink, Goryeo Celadon by Dominant Industry. Old ink, Vinta Perya. Very similar tonality. Blech. It's late at night. Let's see, what's next is another Dominant Industry ink. This is Fairy Forest. So again, in the same color family, but a little more intensely bright. So, the stupid bags. And again with shimmer, holographic shimmer, I think, or iridescent shimmer, that's it. I think holographic, but it's iridescent. It's not a silver shimmer, it's not a gold shimmer, it's an iridescent shimmer. And this one I have 2 similar inks, so I'm going to put it in the middle, like that. Just cleaning off the back of my pen, of my nib, and let's try and keep you kind of, oops, do you see that? I just got some on the edge of my page protector. So, making a mess, and the ink is called, let's move down a little more, Dominant Industry Fairy Forest. Industry Fairy Forest. That's an I, not an L. Looks like Felry Forest, but I just dragged my nib when I was writing a little bit. So 2 I have in my stash that are similar but not quite identical, but are reminiscent of. If you can't get Fairy Forest but you love the color, are this guy by J. Herbin, or by Herbin, it just says Herbin. I'm not going to try and pronounce that because I won't do it correctly. But you saw it. No shimmer. Great, now I have no shimmer tonight in my coffee, in my head. Which is not the song, it's No Sugar Tonight. And now it's in your head if you're aging yourself like I am. It's an old, very old song, in the 70s, I think. Yeah. Anyway, it's in my head. No shimmer tonight in my coffee. No shimmer tonight in my tea. Herbin. So the Herbin, whatever it's called, is a little bit bluer. Menthe. A little bit bluer than Fairy Forest. Fairy Forest is a little bit greener. The difference is exaggerated on camera. Cap that puppy. And then the other one I have is a Diamine Shimmer-tastic called Spearmint Diva. So I'll put that on the other side. And it is a Shimmer-tastic. So it has a silver shimmer suspended in a mint green, mint blue, minty. This color that we all socially accept as mint, which is nothing like the real color of mint because I have mint growing in my garden and it is as green as grass. Don't know why we all accept this as the color mint, but for some reason we do. It's a society thing. We accept lots of things as colors. For example, the color orange is actually the color of tangerines, and the color tangerine is actually the color of oranges. Yeah, don't get me started. Sorry, I got myself started. I'll stop. So here is Spearmint Diva doing its thing. That's enough of that. I hope I got some shimmer. There won't be shimmer in the writing because I have let the shimmer fall out of suspension. Diamine. Spearmint Diva is a little bit richer, more saturated than Dominant Industry Fairy Forest. So just a little bit more intense. So if you like Fairy Forest, but you're thinking that's a bit light for you, you might like Diamine Spearmint Diva. So this is the one I got recently. These are the two I already had in my stash. And the last recent one, I'm going to have to move a bunch of stuff away. So hang on just a second. I'm back. I moved a bunch of stuff out of the way. So this new one is by Lennon Toolbar. Where does it say that? Down there. Lennon Toolbar. And it is Ying Piao. Another shimmer ink, the final of my new shimmer inks. And it is a complex blue. It's got a couple of balls in there, plastic balls in there, or glass balls in there, probably plastic, to help with agitation. Gold shimmer. You can hear the balls helping to agitate the shimmer particles. And I'm going to do the same thing that I've been doing on this page. I'm going to put down the swatch with shimmer, but not worry about shimmer in the writing. If you have that song in your head, let me know. because I don't want to be alone. Let me know in the comments if you have no idea what I'm talking about. Look up the lyrics. No sugar tonight in my coffee. No sugar tonight in my tea. And treat yourself to a good old 1970s rock song. Okay, so a blue. I thought it was a blue-green, but it's a blue. It's like a denim blue, but the gold shimmer in the areas that are heavy shimmer look greenish. So it's a really interesting one. So this is Lennon Toolbar. Ying, Piao. Cleaning my nib. Double check on that. Do extra cleaning. Make sure I get all the shimmer out, because the inks I have to compare this one with are not shimmers. And I don't want to introduce shimmer accidentally to non-shimmering inks. So we'll start with Tono and Limbs from the Deep Space. See, there's 3 E's. I said that correctly. Pillars of Creation line called Hubble. And that is too long a name. Whoever works at Tono and Limbs. Tono and Limbs, Deep Space, Pillars of Creation, Hubble. It should be Tono and Limbs Hubble. That's how it's going down as. Oh, come on. You know, if I was smart, I would have opened this one ahead, because it always gives me heck. Here we go. And the baggie, put that over there. Do the baggie trick. Got some of it. That's the important thing. Now this is going down a lot lighter, but the tonality is the same. So I'm just going to move that over there so I'm not writing on the crack, which I showed you earlier. It's Hubble. And I know the paper is no longer aligned with the screen, but that was just a temporary measure so that I could write comfortably without running into the table crack. Hubble is interesting. You will see in a little bit when I compare with the swatches I did earlier on Midori MD paper. So we're still working on the 52 GSM Cream Tomoe River paper. But when we get to the Midori paper, the Hubble has talent. The tonality of the Hubble is much closer to the Ying Piao than it looks here. So next up, I will get Kaio no Oto Hisoku. Which is in this lovely little bottle. Now, I did not check that I was on screen when I was showing you the box. I am very sorry if I was off screen. Here, I'll grab that and show you the box. There. Kaio no Oto Hisoku. Now, I'm putting this up top here because I have one more to show you. Maybe I shouldn't have put Hubble on here. Hubble is looking less and less like it matches. It's so cool. So cool. There we go. It's so quiet in the house because the dogs are sleeping soundly. It is 4:09 in the morning. I could not sleep. I got to bed too early tonight. I went to bed at 9:30 and I am now up. So may as well shoot the second half of a video I got interrupted shooting. So this last one is a Ferris wheel press ink, Storied Blue. It has a very similar base to Ying Piao. So, Storied Blue. And these are the bottles that are famously known for spilling, so I'm going to be very careful. They tip over easily. So you have to be careful not to nudge or bump them. They're not very stable. Song in head. Ferris wheel press. Yeah, I'm still on screen. Barely. Storied Blue. I think the Kaiono Oto ink is the closest, but it's not perfect. It's not a perfect match. It's close. Basically, if you have Hisoku or Storied Blue and you're trying to not overly repeat yourself, you probably don't need Ying Piao unless you want the shimmer. In my case, I want the shimmer. So that is still drying. I'm going to set that aside. Where am I? No, I'm not. I'm going to zoom a moment. If you'll excuse me a moment, I'm going to zoom and then I'm going to bring in the Midori MD samples. So, looking at the first half, we have Diamine Masquerade. So this is Midori Cream, Midori MD paper, which is cream. Diamine Masquerade and Wilted Rose. Masquerade and Wilted Rose, my turtle. There's the Tono and Limbs Fluorite Daylight. And there, and there's Colorverse Alpha SGR there. So it's a little darker in the more saturated areas, but it's very similar in the lighter areas. There's Tono and Limbs Burma Tourmaline. And there's Kobe Strawberry Chocolate. It looks a lot darker on Tomoe River paper. Looks a lot more similar on the Midori MD Cream. I apologize for the shaking. My hand is on the table hard, but I have a tremor in my right hand, so there's nothing I can do about it. Wearingeul Vayu, the green down here, looks pretty much the same on both papers. Has a kind of a milkiness to it, which is beautiful. Reminds me of sea glass. Okay, now switching into my left hand. Hopefully it won't shake as much. Dominant Industry Goryeo Celadon here and here. Vinta Perya here and here. Very similar. Dominant Industry Fairy Forest in the center on both pieces of paper. Beautiful shimmer. Spearmint Diva, a little more intense. Herbin, I'll try it. Diabolo Menthe. Yeah, terrible pronunciation. A little lighter, but very close. Lennon Toolbar Ying Piao, right here and right here, compared with Tono and Limbs Hubble, Kaiono Oto Hisoku, and Ferris wheel press Storied Blue. I think Hisoku is the closest. So 7 new inks and their comparisons in what I already had in my ink collection. Thank you for sitting with me for this. It is fun watching ink dry, no matter what other people say. We know it is. So enjoy the color in your life. And thank you very much.